Hi, and welcome to Women in Retail Talks. I'm Ashley Tradio, Senior Content Strategist at the Women in Retail Leadership Circle, and today I'm joined by Ashley Merrill, CEO and founder of Lunya Company, a sleepwear company for the modern woman. Today we're going to be talking about Ashley's inspiration behind launching Lunya, how she built a loyal customer base, and much more. So Ashley, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
So I gave a brief introduction about you, but could you tell us a little bit more about yourself and your background?
Sure. So you nailed it. I'm the CEO of Lunya, and also most recently Lago, which is a men's sleepwear brand as well. I also happen to be a mom of two young kids and a wife to another entrepreneur. So I'm sort of deeply in this entrepreneur world.
Gotcha. So let's talk about Lunya. I looked at your website and it says, being a modern woman can be complicated. We're here to simplify. We know lots of things keep you up at night, but what you sleep in shouldn't be one of them. Could you elaborate more on that and what your inspiration was to start Lunya?
Sure. So, maybe I even alluded to it in my prior description, just of being a person that can relate to having a lot of things going on and a lot of things competing for your attention. From my standpoint, the value of what having something just easy, comfortable, and that you feel great in just is a no-brainer for me at home. And so I realized as I've launched Lunya that there's a lot of other people that are in this predicament that feel like they're basically running around all day long and want to figure out how that they can harness a sense of calm easily at their home. So I do feel like from that standpoint, I really relate to this customer. But the origin story of Lunya actually relates to, this is funny because it was prior to me having kids and all of that, but I was wearing my husband's old, I think it was his old frat shirt. I basically alternated between his old frat shirt and his Star Wars gear, and then his boxer briefs rolled up, and so that was what I was wearing. And I think it was just one of those weird things where oddly I caught my reflection one day in the mirror and thought, why am I wearing this? It was an outfit I'd worn probably 100 other times, never thought about it, and just this time I did think about it. And then I thought, wow, I would love to wear something where I could feel as comfortable as I feel right now, but that maybe I could feel better about myself and how I'm showing up to this time of day, to my off hours. And so that really set off the journey to try to find something. It didn't start with, let me launch a company for it. It started with, let me find a product that can suit what I'm looking for. And then the lack of good options did launch Lunya.
Gotcha. So you didn't find what you were looking for, essentially.
No. And most of the things on the market are either very sexual or sort of they're for a different purpose, which is great. And it's a different purpose. And then the other items were it was almost like it went 180 degrees to full long sleeve, full pants, piped woven fabric, this complete opposite, super conservative, kind of uncomfortable vibe. And I was like, well, life for me is in this gray in between. And I want something easy that I still feel, confident and comfortable in, but, not so uptight or not too sexy that I can't wear it easily around friends or family or kids.
Yeah, I feel like every woman can relate to that.
That's my hope. Yes.
So Lunya's clothing is considered luxury pajamas, so it's at a higher price point than most consumers are used to spending on sleepwear. Could you tell us a little bit about how you educated customers on why proper sleepwear is so important and worth the higher price tag, and even why they should be treating themselves to that, and then how you ended up building a loyal customer base?
Yeah. So I think, it's funny you say it's more than most people are used to spending on pajamas. Most people aren't used to spending any money on pajamas. True. They're using old clothes to solve that problem, as was I prior to Lunya. And I think what has really, from my standpoint, where the value really comes is truly understanding how the products are designed, the function they're supposed to serve. And then frankly, for your own, comfort building, I think you can think about just how much use you're going to get out of it, and it starts to really make sense. Really, when you look at how we're a quality company, very much focused on really high quality fabrics, very high quality construction, innovative fabrics and construction. So when I think about what is the fundamental behind our design, we're thinking about Are these going to be straps that are going to stay put? Are these waistbands that won't ride up? Is this, are the seams flat enough in the important areas? Are the pockets big enough to use to serve her use case of maybe wanting to walk around her house with her cell phone, nearby? Are they flat and flattering, the pockets? Are they, it's like, there's a million uses for each one. If you just take apart our robe as an example, we have narrow sleeves so you can wash your face and cook without your sleeves getting in the way. We have a reversible fabric back that absorbs your hair when it comes out of the shower. It's an attached rope belt because people told me they were losing them. It's got a crossover front panel so that if you got to go let the Postmates guy in, you don't have to worry about looking down and realizing you were super exposed. It's got interior ties. I mean, the list goes on and that's what it's like designing every piece that we make. So we very much try to make few things, but make them very, very well. We're also using incredibly high quality fabrics that are mostly natural fibers. So this is a big difference from, I think, where a lot of people are living right now in their athletic clothes, which are mostly synthetic. I think the big difference of why you wouldn't sleep in those is, again, they're synthetic. It's like wearing a version of a plastic bag. Whereas our product is mostly natural fibers, and in some cases all natural fibers. Our silk or our organic Pima are 100% natural fibers. And then we have functional variations off of those, which are still primarily natural, but they have additional functionality. So Restore helps improve your body's circulation, and it does that by having minerals literally extruded into the fibers. And that's great for traveling or for muscle recovery after a workout, those kinds of things. We also have Cool, which addresses the most common problem I hear about in bed, which is temperature. And so helping people stay comfortable there. And then we have Alpaca, which is a natural fiber, but naturally thermoregulating, which is silk shares this property so that it's cool when you're warm and vice versa. And these are just natural products inherent in the fibers. And then organic, which is really great for people that might have sensitive or allergic skin. So I could go on for a long time. Clearly, I'm kind of a fabric geek, but I guess I should suffice it to say, they're expensive, and I know that. But from my standpoint, it's that money, we're investing it in the fabric. I mean, our silk alone is almost $22 a yard. So if you just do the math and you break it out, you can see you're actually getting really good value there. And if we were to try to build a true wholesale brand out of this business, I would have to charge considerably more because of our cost of goods and the labor that's going into it. We're really investing so much more into the quality of the good because we want it to last and we want it to be something she can wear over and over and over again.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought up the fabric because it leads me to my next question. I noticed that some of Lunya's clothing is made out of fabric that's been FDA regulated as a sleep-enhancing medical device. So I was hoping you could tell us a little bit more about that and even how you got that regulated, how that came to be.
Yeah, so Celliant, which is the fiber that's extruded, or the minerals, that are extruded into the Restore, that's the mineral compound or the technology that has the FDA regulation. And that is basically regulated as a medical device and can be applied in many cases. In our case, what made it really special with how we applied it is our ability to blend it with a natural fiber. It's the kind of thing that had been used before in athletic wear brands, but again, it had been paired back with synthetics, which from our standpoint was something we really wanted to get around. So by blending this natural Pima with that mineral base, we're able to produce something that's natural, breathable, but then also still has the properties that the FDA is regulating and around increased circulation.
Very cool. So I'm going to shift gears a little bit.
Sure.
So the shopping experience is really unique at Lunya stores. You created an atmosphere that puts shoppers in an environment similar to where you would actually be wearing Lunya clothing, a bedroom. Can you tell us a little bit about your idea behind opening the stores and why you didn't strictly want Lunya to be an e-commerce only brand?
Sure. I think a couple things on that. So the bedroom experience, we can start with that. The bedroom experience was something that it kind of came out organically, but it was just one of those things where when you're trying to really reinvent an industry, which is something that we do feel we are doing here, we're taking this almost forgotten industry and breathing new life into it. And we really felt like we need people to understand the problem we're trying to solve here. Again, you're looking at a customer that maybe doesn't even buy sleepwear. So we wanted them to see the context for which the product makes sense, and to create an aspirational and exciting environment for them to walk into. So the bedrooms, which is currently made of 3 stores. So we have one bedroom in Santa Monica, one in Brooklyn, and one in Nolita. So essentially 2 in New York. They're all different, and they're all basically designed to help, kind of bring attention to that home space, this most forgotten time of day that we don't always think about. And so they're all really unique, and I'm really into interior design, so it gave me an opportunity to kind of have different expressions in these environments. And then it also creates a really intimate place to interact with the brand, and an intimate environment that we can use for other things. So for example, we do a lot of really wonderful events, and they range from maybe a wellness event, maybe flower arranging, maybe an entrepreneurial panel. We've done bipartisan debates in these spaces. So because it's not a cold retail space, because it feels like someone's home, there's a lot of flexibility to have intimate conversations that you might never have in a typical retail environment, which helps, I think, our customer to really understand what we stand for and who we are as a brand. When you talk about why did we even go into brick and mortar retail, there's a few reasons. I think one of them is kind of tied to your earlier point, which is we're a luxury sleepwear company. There's a lot of products you can buy on the internet, and it's very hard as a consumer to know what you can trust and what you can't. If you read reviews, well, reviews are mostly written by angry people, so it's hard to know, was this actually a good product? Did this person have an anomaly of an experience? It's the rare day that someone's like so wowed that they want to take the time to go post a review. So it's almost hard to know when you can trust reviews and when you can't. And what's really nice about being brick and mortar is people can touch and feel the garments for themselves. They can build their own relationship with the brand. They can figure out what sizes work for them. So they don't have to rely on somebody outside to tell them whether or not it's good. And there's no pressure, in this environment. And this is also kind of tied to the reason why we offer free returns. At the end of the day, we know it's expensive. We know you might be buying sleepwear for the very first time, and we want you to feel, we feel a lot of pride for the product we make, and we only want people to keep it that also feel like we're delivering them good value. So it gives them a chance to really take in the value of the product before they feel like they have to commit.
That makes a lot of sense. So you mentioned earlier that Lunya has a sister brand that you recently launched, Lago, that's sleepwear for men. Could you talk a little bit about your decision to expand into the men's market and what research went into that?
Yeah, so I would almost call it a brother brand because it's a male brand.
True.
But yes, basically what happened is there's sort of a lot of reasons why we ended up creating a male's brand. One of them was demand. I mean, there's no question that men and women were walking into the store and men were like, we want this. We want something like this for us. And we realized that space was just as wide open for them as it was for women. And there was just the same problem to solve. The other is kind of sort of a mission orientation problem. I think from my standpoint, one of the things that I was really motivated around was, I should say but as I see myself as, in this new world where we have a lot more women in leadership, it's very exciting. And we have an opportunity to define what a female leader looks like. And so for me, I thought, I read a quote somewhere that they said, you don't want to exclude just because you've been excluded. And I thought, that's right to me. I don't want to be creating a brand that actually excludes men. Mm-hmm. That's the antithesis of equality and what I was hoping for. You know what I mean? So in a way, I kind of almost took a hard look at myself and thought, am I living the example that I want to, and part of me thought, no, I have men that clearly want this product. And so I had to give them something. And then I also had to go through the conversation point of deciding, do we want to combine these brands? And at the end of the day, I landed on no. I landed that Lago should be on its own 2 legs and Lunya should be. And the reality behind that decision was that men and women are different. and I think that there is a lot of brands that are making the play for unisex clothing and all this. And I have no problem with that. I think that can work too. But from my standpoint, I thought it would be fun to be able to acknowledge what kind of products and what kind of brand a man thinks is awesome and give him that, and then let Lunya stay for women. And that way, neither feels like they had to sacrifice true resonance or the products they really want in order to be together. I mean, in a weird way, it was almost symbolic of an ideal relationship, that you could have this equal footing with a partner, with a significant other, so to speak. And that's kind of almost how we view the brands, as they're like significant others to each other. They're equal in name, Lago and Lunya. They sound great together, but they're distinct. They're their own people, and they have their own needs and interests. And so I think we look at this as having the ability to give a different playground for each brand, that it can speak truly and authentically to its customers.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I'm glad you explained that, why you didn't combine them, because that is really, you made great points. Ashley, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Women in Retail Talks.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening. For more information on this podcast, please check out our podcast channel page at wirlc.com/podcasts for show notes. Women in Retail Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify. Make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a few moments to rate and review this podcast. Thanks, and until next time, this has been Women in Retail Talks.